Hello guys, so this is Vance Studios 2 and I'm here to bring you the Mindseye PS5 review. I've had the time to play the game so far, and what I would say is Mindseye is a fascinating game. It's ambitious, the cinematic alone is very good, clearly built on a big idea, set in a gritty, surveillance heavy, near future experience. It puts you in shoes of Jacob Diaz, a former operative put into a twisted conspiracy. So that's what Jacob Diaz is about, the protagonist for the game. And when it works, it really works. The storytelling is layered, and it's emotional. The world is interesting, even though I think the NPCs could have used a lot more animations. The NPCs need a little bit more animation to them, especially when you're in conflict with them. It does seem to glitch out most of the time. Most of the NPCs are just backed out, and it really needs to be updated in that case. But nonetheless, the world is interesting. There are moments of genuine tension, and the narrative pays off. It does pay off, and it shows just how much potential this game has if it's updated, because I think the developers, they did pour the hat out into making this game. It's just the optimization for it, especially on the consoles. It's not great in that case. That's why I kind of paused on it, kind of waiting for the patches, because if you read online, especially here on X, they did send out a tweet to say that they'll be sending out a patch later this week, at the end of this week. So we'll see if there's any difference when it comes to how it performs. And let's be honest, Mindseye is also suffering from serious performance issues, even on the PS5 Pro, because I do have the base PS5 and do have the PS5 Pro. I played it on both, and surprisingly it actually plays better of the base PS5, which is crazy to me, in terms of because the gameplay you're seeing right now, this is actually on the PS5 Pro. I mean on the PS5, the base PS5. So this is not the PS5 Pro PC. This is actually on the base PS5, which is surprising to me. I don't know if everyone else is experiencing the same thing, but that's what I've noticed. And we're also seeing I've also noticed that throughout my gameplay session, I noticed a lot of pop-ins, as I said before, a lot of frame dips, from sometimes from 30, even as low as 25 sometimes, which is not great, for a game of this magnitude, I would say. Texture loading as well is a problem in some cutscenes, but cutscenes are fairly okay. I don't really have a problem with the cutscenes, and it's a consistent visual polish. For a game that relies so heavily on immersion and visual fidelity, these technical hiccups break the floor for me. I gotta say it, more than they should. It's clear that the game needed more time. I read criticism from some YouTubers such as Cyberboy. I do watch a lot of his takes on different games, and he did warn people about it in terms of if this game is ready for launch. I would say it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at all. I just think as a lot of people, a lot of influencers you're seeing, a lot of reviews that you're seeing, the problem is it's a lot of glitches, which is very immersion breaking, and it's very hard unless you really don't care about the glitches and stuff like that. You can just go with the story, because the story alone is good. As I said before, the story alone is good. It's just the gameplay. But I do agree with a lot of influencers that the game did need more time in the oven, to be honest. And the good news, the core experience is salvageable, I would say, if the developers commit to patching it, optimizing the post-launch. Mindseye could eventually become a sleeper hit in a few years from now. Remember what happened to Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was one of the worst releases back then. I believe it was in 2019 or something when released. But now it's actually playable. It's actually a very good game. It's just the way it launched was not well received, and it was rushed, same as this game. Very rushed, but I can see the passion behind it. But as it stands, it feels like yet another entry in the growing trend of promising but unfinished releases, you know, which is very, very frustrating when it comes to that, because I think a lot of developers should be able to finish the game in time. And I, you know, I don't really care about delays like that, like how some people lose their head over delays. You know what GTA 6 did, you know, that should be kind of a sign to a lot of developers to actually take their time when creating these big immersive games. You know, they don't need to be rushed out. But I think, you know, there's reasons behind it. Could be investors pushing for like early releases and stuff like that, and which is why it hurts the game. If you remember years ago with Days Gone, one of my favorite games on the PS4, it did receive the same criticism with the bugs and everything. I think it was released a little bit early than it should, but with the patches, with the updates, you know, it's one of the best games, and it has a lot of good reviews as well, if you check Steam and places like that. So it's not an end for to build a Rocket Boy. I think they do have time to actually polish it up and, you know, let gamers enjoy the game. And this is the big issue as well when it comes to the gaming industry today. Players should not have to wait months for the game they paid full price for it to finally become what it was marketed to be, you know. So yeah, I think this should be pushed out by a lot of fans as well, you know, to actually take the time to actually make these games, because this is unacceptable. Okay, now the conclusion to this question is, should you buy the game? I mean, if you're in it for the story and can overlook technical flaws in terms of the animations and the pop-ins, you know, the glitches and stuff like that, I think you'll be pretty much fine. I think the story alone is good. Jacob Diaz, who also plays Lincoln Clay, I think in Mafia 3, his performance is very, very good in this game. He's a very, very good actor when it comes to these action-based games. If you don't see gameplay as an issue, I think you'll be fine, you know, because Mindseye does offer a gripping, you know, cerebral experience worth, you know, exploring. I think it does have that, you know, potential. But if performance issues and polish matter a lot to you, it's best to wait. I think I would wait, you know, for the patches as well. I can also do an update and to see if there's any difference, you know, from the launch edition. And I would say I would wait, you know, I would wait for the patches first, then, you know, buy. And for some people, just wait for a sale. And I think this game is probably gonna be on sale soon. It's actually not a lost cause, not even close. But the developers need to step up and, you know, on the criticism and fix it. And like how you know, the Saints Row developers did, you know, they were insulting people on X for criticizing how bad the game was and stuff like that. I don't think to build a Rocket Boy needs to do that. I think they just need to take the criticism, you know, see what they can improve. Because, you know, as I said, and I'm gonna keep saying this, I don't care what anybody says, this game has, you know, it has its potential. You know, it has potential to be a very, very good game. It's not gonna rival GTA 6, because I'm seeing a lot of, you know, tweets, and I'm seeing a lot from, you know, YouTubers saying that, you know, it was meant to be a GTA 6 rival. It's really not. People gotta stop this, you know, because every time there's an open world game, it's automatically compared to GTA, which is not healthy. Because if you look back then, when games like Saints Row 2, which I still believe is the best gangster game that I've played so far, you know, when open world games like that come out and they're instantly compared to GTA, a lot of developers do try to, you know, be different, which is why we saw what happened to Saints Row, especially the reboot. You know, I'm giving them a chance. I'm not really gonna, you know, join the hate train and stuff like that. I'm actually gonna wait for the game to actually see if it plays well. They need to take their time, you know, no need to rush them, because you have, you know, people who are even hating on the game before it even released. I mean, they have a point now, you know, they can say, you know, they said so and stuff like that, but, you know, I haven't given up on this developer. I think the game's direction was, you know, positive, it was passionate, but it's just, yeah, it was just rushed. I wouldn't say buy it right away. I would say wait for the patches and see reviews again, maybe on my channel, and come back here and see if, you know, I have a different opinion on it. Then you can be able to, you know, purchase it from there, or, you know, just get it on the sale when it's actually fully updated. And yeah, so those are my thoughts, and if any news comes up, and I'll surely let you guys know. And see you guys next time.